Hello and welcome to a different sort of video from my first video. I really haven't had any time to record anything for a while, so this is kind of a new video that a new to me style video where I'm going to make something. Okay, first let's go over the materials that are needed. First thing you'll need is a Hot Wheels truck, or Hot Wheels style truck. In this case, it's a Dollar Tree, a Ford F-150 Raptor, but we won't be able to tell except from looking at the bottom plate after I'm done with it. It'll just look like a police truck. And it looks kind of boring now. It's going to look something a little more like this, which is the fresh metal Ford F-350 as the base, instead of the F-150 Raptor. So it's going to look slightly different. It's going to look different for the bodywork, but same style, is what I'm pretty much saying here. Next thing you'll need will be... Okay, I'm going over the materials first. So next would be polymer clay, silver and blue for the light bar, as you saw in the previous truck. Then you will need different types of acrylic paint. You could use any kind of paint. I just prefer acrylics because, well, they're cheap and easy to clean up. You will also need this metallic acrylic paint, which wasn't shown because it's not a tube. You will also need some CA glue and some varnish for when it's finished. That finishes up the materials. Next, we'll show tools. You will need some sort of a cutting tool for the polymer clay. You will need some sort of a tool to somehow deal with these little rivets here and here. In my case, I'm using a Dremel style multi-tool. You will also need a little lid for the varnish, as well as a brush for the varnish. In this case, I'll use a sponge brush because they're disposable. Then you'll need a brush for the paint. And you will also need a suitable bit for the Dremel. I don't seem to have gotten the suitable bit in my case. I'm gonna have to go find that before I can start. Okay, before we start, I figured I might as well show you what this started as. This started life as this. So, as you can see, the difference is quite staggering. Unfortunately, this chromed plastic piece here doesn't take paint very well, as is obvious by this. And my rusting pattern, I'm out of the paint, so I won't be doing that on the Raptor or build. But other than that, let's get started. Okay, first, what we'll need will be the truck, and then the Dremel tool. You don't have to use the Dremel if you don't want to. I find it just makes life a lot easier if you do, because of this little plastic insert for the windshield and stuff. You don't want to get paint on that. You could just use masking tape on the wheels and the windshield thing, but I'm just gonna grind it out, and you don't really need to see that, so I'm just gonna cut. Quick status update: this little burr right here does not work, so I'm gonna have to go back into my shop and try to find something that will work. Quick status update: I got something that hopefully is gonna work. If this doesn't work, it's worked in the past, but if it doesn't work this time, Well, I'm gonna switch to something else. For video. This will be just added as an extra if this doesn't work. But I'll see you when I'm done. Okay, so it worked. Now I have a number of parts that I'm going to set aside this part, these parts, and this part for the moment, and we're going to focus on this part. Didn't do the cleanest job of dealing with the rivets, so I'm going to go back with my Dremel and clean that up a bit so it's not so dangerous, and so it can go back together fairly easily. Okay, I got it so that it fits together fairly easily, but it stays together also pretty well. So next thing to do is, I guess, drill the hole in the roof and then paint it up. And then I'll be just putting the light bar on it and all that. I'll come back when I've got the hole in the roof. Okay, as a guide for the hole, I used this little roof support thing, which is very useful. It wasn't intended to be used as a drilling guide, but it works perfectly for figuring out where the mounting is of the light bar. But it was intended for the alignment of this little plastic piece, and I now realize I should have drilled the hole a bit smaller than I did on the previous vehicles that I've built, but let bygones be bygones, I guess, because it's been mighty hard to fit this in. So I decided to use a smaller bit than I usually use, and the alignment actually is better with this one since I left the post in. So now what we've got to do is actually get to painting. Okay, after much deliberation, I have decided it will look better in black. So because of that, I will proceed to give it a complete coverage in black for every one of the exterior surfaces. And I'm almost certain that you do not need me to show this to figure out how it's done. I just thought I should probably tell you, the hole in the roof is not absolutely necessary for the light bar. Hell, none of this drilling holes or drilling out the rivets is actually necessary, but the hole in the roof does help with the light bar alignment. So you could just CA glue it in place if you wanted, if you really don't want to mess up a Hot Wheels car. But as I said, this is an El Cheapo Dollar Tree Hot Wheels car, so I don't really care too much about it. It's well, I might as well just completely go all out on it. And I have put the black base coat on it, so not sure how well you can see that, but I will tell you that the lights will get a coat, a little slight coat of white as the base, so I can put the little colors on them without too much issue. Also, this bed, I'm not sure how much I like it, and the roof will definitely need a second coat, so I'm going to put a second coat on this, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to put the second coat on this after it's dried, after this first coat's dried. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, it's been a couple hours since I last saw, or since I was last in here to record, and the black paint has dried. So now I will push this aside and show you how to make the light bar. See, I've already fabricated one, so, and I'm not terribly happy with it, so I'm going to try to make a new one. What you do is you get a ball of you get a little ball of polymer clay, you knead it around a bit so it is workable. Then you take a flat surface. This wood doesn't count. I'm going to use the charger for my camera's batteries for this. And take another flat object, and then you squish it as flat as you can. In this case, I'm going to have to roll it over again. Might work better since you're making a bar rather than a little round disc to roll it into a snake instead of a ball. Whatever floats your boat, I guess. Now, it's stuck to the little thing. There. Do that with, this is the silver. Repeat that process with the blue. Stick the blue on top. Now what you're supposed to do, is take the whole mess and squish it well enough that they'll bond. Then what you do is you take your little blade for cutting and cut away the material you don't need, which is being a little more difficult than I wanted it to be, than I expected it to be this time, considering how easy it was last time. But when working with a medium as unpredictable as polymer clay, you take what you got. And this is a very much situation of I hate the awkwardness that is being on camera. So this is partially finished light bar. Hang on, I need to finish this. Now it should be done, well, mostly done. Still have to put the little grooves in for the light, the individual lamp parts. Alright, having gotten the light bars finished, now it's on to the next part of the painting process, which is going to be deciding where I'm going to have the huge white patches and all of the little detailing bits that I am going to put on this. I don't know where I'm going to put them yet, but I will know in a little bit. Okay, I've decided where the white is going to go. It is going on the doors, the light areas, and the mirrors. The mirrors, it's going to be on to provide a base coat for the silver, which will be added later. And on the doors, it'll provide a base coat for the details. And the lighting areas, it will also provide a base coat for the lights. Now, this is going to be by far the hardest part of the entire build, because of the fact that I have to deal with the lights and the insignia, the Ford insignia and the rear, as well as the doors. So basically this is going to be the hardest part for me. So I'll check back when I have the necessary areas painted. Okay, I have now put the white on the doors and the mirrors and the hatch and the lights. Some hours have passed, and I have decided that the black for the pickup truck bed does not work. So I've painted it gray, a charcoal gray, and I've also painted these little vents at the front charcoal gray. Unfortunately, the paint that I used attracts nastiness like dust. So that's going to be dealt with later. I've painted the doors, the mirrors, and all of the lights white, as well as the hood and the tailgate. So next will be the actual detailing, and I'll come back in a bit and show you what it will be, or how it'll look when it's been actually detailed. So now how the process is done is with a toothpick you select the necessary color of paint. It can be a toothpick or a really fine brush, and you apply it very carefully to the area where you need to have it for proper detailing. In this case, I am not being super careful because I'm trying to focus on this while still keeping it relatively in frame. Alright, so let's just take it out of frame a little bit. Alright, here. Those are the taillights done. To clean off the toothpick, just roll it across. Roll it around on the surface. Now, for the headlights, usually I would paint yellow. However, in this case, I'm going to paint silver, which doesn't want to work right now, I don't think. Oh yeah, it's working. It just doesn't show up terribly well. That's basically my detailing process. I would do weathering if I could be bothered. Let's just be honest here. Can't be bothered with this model. But now what I've got left is basically baking the polymer clay and dealing with the door handles, which I'll deal with right now. Then I'll be done with that and I'll be on to the lettering. So I'm going to have to repair that big splotch that I made. I'll do that in the next cut. So, see ya when I'm ready to do the lettering. Okay, this is the last update for the night because I am right tired. But I will just show you what I've done so far. This is the tailgate here. It's got the livery of... It's got the same livery as this one, but it's just got a little bit more detail, if you ask me. And the emergency call right here is on the back fender. The town name and the fact that it's a police vehicle is on the doors, and the registration number is right here. And on the hood, it's just the police department and abbreviation and the registration number. And I will show you how to paint that stuff real fast. First, indicating what town it's in. Alright, so now the bodywork is pretty well done. So the next step will be varnishing it, and I might apply a coat of varnish before I decide to put the light bar on, before I bake the light bar, but really depends on how I'm feeling in the morning, or even if I can get the light bar baked as early as the morning. If I can't get the light bar baked in the morning, I'll definitely have a coat of varnish. I might just apply varnish right now after recording this clip, but I think it turned out pretty well so far. We'll see how it looks when it's fully assembled. Okay, I recorded the last assembly clip. At least I thought I did. But in a klutz move that I probably should have counted on, I had it on camera mode instead of video mode. So basically what I did was I super glued this light bar on. I will be showing you the entire process again in my next video, but I also glued this rear rivet back. I didn't need to take it apart. Could have just used masking tape and just randomly guessed at the light bar positioning, but I decided I needed the alignment for the light bar anyway. For the next car that I do, I will not be taking the vehicle apart. I'll just be painting it and adding the light bar. But I personally like the way this has turned out. It's not finished yet, but I'll show you what it looks like when it's fully assembled later. Probably in my next video. Anyway, hey, I'll see you next time.